Hey all, welcome back to Medical Terminology. I'm going to do each chapter in short sectioned videos so that it's not so overwhelming. So today we're going to talk about the cardiovascular system, which is chapter 7 in your book. AR is pertaining to, cardio is heart, and vasculo is the vessels. So putting it all together, it's pertaining to the heart and blood vessels. Understand that the circulatory system also involves the lymphatic system, so we'll get a little bit more into that in this unit. When we talk about the cardiovascular system and the lymphatic system, what you have to think of is there are circulating things throughout the body that you might need. So different substances, nutrients, hormones even to get to the cells. And then the lymphatic system, what it does is it kind of sucks up the blood and the substances that get out of the blood flow and puts it back into the bloodstream to get it where it needs to go, whether it's to be used in the body or to get it to where you can excrete it out of your body. The lymphatic system is supplemental to that cardiovascular system. So your overall goal is homeostasis. Think about the word breakdown, stasis meaning stoppage and homeo meaning sameness. Basically, when you think about homeostasis, you have to think about things like your blood pressure, your pulse, even your breathing rate. All of that kind of works together. And if one goes up, the other goes up. If one goes down, a lot of times the other one goes down. But we always talk about rates and ranges that are within normal limits, or WNL is the abbreviation. So homeostasis is your total goal. What your circulatory system, in particular the cardiovascular and lymphatic systems, do is they provide that constant supply of food that's needed for your body to function correctly and for your brain to work correctly. It also gives your brain needed oxygen so that it can function and do what it needs to do. And then substances and hormones, as I mentioned before, kind of travel throughout the body as well. So as your blood circulates through your heart and into your lungs and through the vessels, it carries everything out to the body that you need, and then it carries everything back in through the heart or into parts of the body where it can kind of be filtered out if necessary. Here's a short video that kind of shows you what the heart does with the blood. So specifically, what does it do? The cardiovascular system, breaking it down, supplies cells with needed substances. There's a lot of them to go through, and we're not an anatomy class, so we're not going to get into that a lot. But it also transports waste products to excrete out of the body. It helps to maintain acid and base balance in your body, because if you think about it, if things get off too much, if you have too much carbon dioxide in your body, then things like lactic acid build up. When you have lactic acid in your body, that's when you wake up with night cramps, or if you try to exercise and you cramp up in your legs, that's from too much carbon dioxide. It also prevents hemorrhaging through blood clotting, and it protects you against disease, so it's working with your immune system. Especially important right now with the coronavirus and everything going around, we have to have a solid cardiovascular system. And probably the most important, it helps to regulate your body temperature. If you're too cold, you start to shiver because your body's trying to send a message saying, don't be so cold. If you're too hot, you sweat. You're trying to cool your body off. So your cardiovascular system plays hand in hand with that. Other functions are listed over to your right, but the fighting disease and the transporting hormones and the body temperature, really important, especially as we're fighting off epidemics. There are structures in the heart, and so let's look at the 5 anatomical structures briefly. They start out at the arteries. Those are the biggest. Remember, A, away, so it's pushing blood out away from the heart. And then it breaks down to your arterioles and then your capillaries. Carbon dioxide and oxygen are exchanged at that macro level, at the micro level, at the capillary level. On the opposite side, remember, vein has the word in it, so it's bringing blood back into the heart. The vena cava is the largest, and then it breaks down to the veins and the venules. So quick reminder, A, away, arteries take blood away from the heart. VEIN, or veins, bring blood back in. So veins return blood to the heart. They have valves. They have oxygen poor blood, so it's usually a little more blue in color. Blood has to flow smoothly and it flows under low pressure. Versus on your arterial side, it's larger vessels, it carries the blood away from the heart to the rest of the body, it's oxygen rich. Your arteries tend to have thicker walls that flow in pulses, and it flows under higher pressure. So the heart itself, you've got the right atrium and the right ventricle, the left atrium and the left ventricle. I'm going to link this video on Blackboard so that you can go watch it. So please make sure you take that time to do that. Terms that are associated with the heart are myocardial, pericardium, epicardium, endocardium, and the aorta. Make sure you come back or look at the actual Prezi online and break those words down on your own. But remember that myocardial, you know the words myo and cardio. Cardio heart, myo muscle, so it's the heart muscle. Pericardium, anytime you see IUM, that is a membrane. So it is the membrane, peri surrounds, that surrounds the heart. Epicardium is the membrane, epi on top of the heart, so the membrane on top of the heart. Endocardium, membrane, endo inside, cardio heart, membrane inside the heart. And your aorta is the biggest portion of your heart that's in charge of a lot of the heart's function. So here's the word box that pops up in chapter 7. You can read this for yourself, but it's a quick review. When we look at terms, think like angio as an angioplasty. You're surgically repairing a vessel. You've also got the aorta, so aortitis would be inflammation of the aorta. Artero or arterio or artery, so polyarteritis, inflammation of many arteries. Arterial, athero, so you probably have heard the term atherosclerosis, hardening that's inside the heart. When we think about yellow fatty plaque, think about the plaque you get on your teeth that builds up. It's very similar in the heart, and when it gets hard, blood can't flow through the heart the way it needs to. Phlebo and veno both mean vein. You might know somebody that's going through the phlebotomy program at ICC. They're kind of thought of as like the human bloodsuckers, even though they're not really human bloodsuckers, but they are trying to draw blood on you. Phlebostasis is another term that's fairly common in healthcare, and that means stopping blood flow. So if you've ever given blood and they stop that blood flow in your arm after, that's the act of phlebostasis. And then venulo is venule. I'm going to stop here for this chunk of video. Please make sure you watch it as needed. Remember that I will link the video links on Blackboard so you can access them. Richwood students, I'll also link them on the web page as I'm able to do. Thanks, and come on back so you can watch the last half of the presentation.